Hey, what's up, everybody? I just uploaded part one of the crypto update, basically talking about Ethereum. So let's jump into it, right? We're going to pick up right where we left off. Essentially, we're looking at this Ethereum chart as a three-wave correction that it's finished. And we're looking at this wave as a WXY, and we expect it to come back into the higher retrace levels. So meaning a 1 2 1 2 3 WXY for a wave 4, then let's go up in wave 5. So go watch the previous part 1 video for more information on that. But let's jump into the smaller time frames where we left off. So essentially, again, I was saying the smaller time frames are a lot more challenging. But essentially, what we have is only, right? So if this was our Y wave and that's finished, then what is this, right? This should be the beginnings of a big wave up. So if we look closely, they could be interpreted a little, obviously we have 5 and this looks like 3, right? So you have, 3 down, you got 3 up, and then you got 3 back down. So that could be 1, that could be 2, right? And now we're going up in that wave 3. So that's kind of my primary. Other than that, I would expect, if it's bearish, that this would be a 3-wave move up, and then you would get maybe a 3-wave move down, and then maybe a 5-wave move up. But I just don't really see that either. I just feel like, yeah, look at this. We're pumping right now, and I actually added to my position just as I was uploading the previous video, because I guess I talked myself into getting some. That's bullish. It's bullish. So all right, that's Ethereum. Let's move on. Let's go somewhere else. Let's look at Theta. Why not? So Theta, and then we'll look at XRP. So Theta, let's zoom out. Let's take a look. Let's see where we're at. Let's zoom out even further here. So Theta is, I was actually reading about Theta a little bit because I never really get a chance to, really dissect things on a technology level. And I was reading some pretty cool stuff about Theta. It's more than just a streaming thing. There's a lot to it, and yeah, AI is AI is a big part of it as well. Maybe at the end of the video, we'll kind of go through all of this. If you're kind of new to Theta, obviously the Theta OGs are going to know a lot of this stuff, but it's really interesting. Because they got the edge cloud, they got the blockchain itself, there's a lot of things, going on with Theta, and I really like it. So anyways, but let's jump into the charts. I'm not really a fundamentals guy, but I look at it from time to time. So all right, anyways, Theta looks to me, right, on the larger time frames, I'm still expecting a move to the upside. Now, did I just pull that out of a hat? No. Why do I think we're going up? Well, if you start right here, we created a base, right? A base of support. We exploded to the upside in a massive wave, right? You can look at that as a wave 1, right? And then we came down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves, right? You could look at that as a wave A, right? And then we went up in 3, right? You could look at that as a B, right? And then it looks like this is 1, 2, 3, maybe we get 4, and then 5 down. That could be our C, and that's bearish, and then we would expect a massive move to the upside. Now, that's not my main idea, but that is the bearish idea to look at, right? Which would mean more downside. But what is the bullish idea? The bullish idea is the same idea, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, but this is 3 up, okay? And then we have 3 down, right? But it's not finished. There is no wave that's 2, right? A wave has to be 3. So you would then expect 3 waves back up, or 5, right? It could be 3 or 5. So then that could be your B. And then you would most likely get a running flat or reaccumulation for a wave C, right? But that's another video. That's a long ways from now. We're just focusing on what? Getting back up here, right? So yeah, that would be 3 waves up, 3 waves down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, and then that would be your 3. So there's your A. This is your 3-wave B, and then you would kind of trickle down here for a C and then get going here. But it doesn't have to necessarily look like that, right? The other idea is that this is the super bullish idea, ladies and gentlemen, is the Ethereum model, right? So if we look at Ethereum again, right, you could see, and we compare it to Theta, you can see something very interesting playing out, right? So this would be the third idea, right? So 2 bullish, 1 bear. So basically what this is the W model. So you have a big pump, a big pump, a big crash, right? You get a little shallow retrace, you get a shallow retrace, and then you have this 3-wave move down, 3-wave move down, right? And then you shoot up like a rocket ship. So that's the big question. Are we all going to be millionaires in the next year? I don't know. We'll see. That would be pretty cool. You get a big slingshot up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Let's get way up there. So that would be the W model for Ethereum. So where would that land us? Well, if we take a fib level and we try to figure out where it went for Ethereum, you could see we went all the way up to the 3.414, almost to the 4.236. Okay. If we look at Theta, right, and we do the same type of analysis, the same target to the 3.414, where does that take us? That takes us all the way up to $55, $56. So that's pretty sweet. I mean, we're only at 77 cents. So that's like, what, like a 65x move? I don't know, somewhere around there. That's pretty cool. Percentages from where we are exactly right now up to that level, that's 7,000%. So that's like, what, a 70x or so? Something like that. So yeah, that would be very, very, very awesome. I would love nothing more than to see that play out. So how do we know which ones are going to be? Well, it's all about how the wave reacts in here. If it's really fast and violent, you could get a flag and then a continuation. But if it's kind of like 3-wave-ish, it could spell more reaccumulation later. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But that is kind of the long-term understanding, and I do that from time to time, So, but I primarily focus on the smaller time frames, which is basically like the daily chart, Essentially what we have here, again, we have 3 up, we have 3 down. Let's just focus on the 3 waves down. So is the 3 waves down finished? This is the other piece to the puzzle that is not totally confirmed yet, meaning we could still have another wave down. I don't think so, but it could play out that way. For example, this could be 1, 2. All of this could be 3. This could be 4. And then we still need a wave 5. That could totally play. And if that does play and we do get bullish divergence, then you would want to be super duper duper long at that point. Not financial advice, but that's just the way I kind of look at it, right? Super duper long for a big move up. But it could be finished now, right? This could be 1, 2, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have 4 and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That could be the end, right? We had bullish divergence down here. The only issue, though, is we don't have 5 waves. We only have 3 waves. Now, this 3 waves could be a 1, 2, 1, 2. We haven't took the low. And if it is a 1, 2, 1, 2, then let's get a big wave 3. So let's talk about that. So honestly, on the small time frames, it actually looks a little bullish here, right? Because we have 1, 2, or no, we have, sorry, we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and then we have 3 back down. So we have a 3-wave move, right? So is this 3 waves up and this is 3 waves down, and now we're creating kind of a base and we're going to go up in 5? That could very well be the case too. Now the thing is, if this comes up here, right, we can then look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, some kind of diag or something, right? And then you get a 3-wave correction, and then you continue on up. So definitely, it's definitely going to take time, definitely has some work to do, but I think it could happen relatively quick. We'll see how it plays out, but you can also see we have this little zone right in here, right? And that's the zone where we want to wrap up into. Actually, let me zoom out and extend this outwards a little bit here, just to show you how much of an area this really is. I mean, this is probably the biggest key area of Theta's life, which is right at the dollar mark, right? I mean, there's so much confluence in this spot. It's unbelievable. You can even go back further, I think. Well, not really, a little bit there, but here we go. So, right, you have all of this, all of this. I mean, there's so much confluence in here, right? So, if we look at where we're at on the 4-hour, and you could see, you know, is this a cup and is this another, or a shoulder, right? And then let's maybe get another shoulder. So the idea would be, if we start wrapping back above, right, then we can break that neckline and be an inverse head and shoulders. What would the measured move be for that? Well, we could just measure the head conservatively and get an idea. You know, you're looking at about $1.65, $1.70. So that's an idea for us there. But the main part is, when we go up, are we getting a retrace, right? So is this, for example, 3 down, and then we're going to get 3 up, and then another 3 down, then go up? That could be the case as well, right? Where this becomes more complex before going up. So we'll see how it plays out, but we'll circle back to Theta. Let's take a look at a few other things, and then we'll circle back to see if, you know, it's jiving or if it makes sense, if there's confluence. So real quick with XRP, right? Obviously, we're looking at XRP as an expanded flat, right? In a wave 4, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let's go get 5. I mean, come on, let's do it. So if you look at this wave in particular, right? Same kind of thing. You got 3 down, you got 3 up, and then you got 1, 2, 3 back down. You got 3 down, you got 3 up, you got 3 back down, and the subwaves. So this is the challenging part. What the hell is that? Well, it kind of looks like somewhat of a diagonal, or, you know, but really we only have 3 waves. So A, B, and then C. It's only 3, right? So we don't really have 5. Unless this is a 1, A, B, C, that's a 2. And then you have a 1, and then A, B, C, that's another 2. If this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, then we can get up here for a 3rd wave, right? And you can see the broadening formation that it's forming along the way, right? Because what have we been talking about here? Well, we've been discussing a move down ever since. Like, if we zoom in here, we can see we were going to break down. We called the breakdown perfectly, right? Because why? How did we know it was going to break down? Well, you can see right in here, you can see this little zone right here, volatility slowed down. We were in a descending triangle, right? And then you can see volatility slowing, getting stuck, and then boom, drop down. And there's many examples of that happening. So when we identified that, cut the longs, go short. So now what happened? The price came back up in 3. It retested as resistance, and then it came all the way back down and it took the low. And most people would have went completely bearish right here, but it actually, I think it formed bullish divergence. Look at that. Very strong bullish divergence. It was a fake out to the downside, right? So it came, here's the low. It barely took the low, and then it came right back up, right? So the big question is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That's an A. And then now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we would get 3. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be our B. And then we would still need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for C. Just like how we talked about theta, that this becomes more complex, right? So that would be idea number 1, right? Essentially, what the big thing is this a B wave and then a C and then we go, or is this going to just go? For example, if we look at Polygon here for a second, you can see very clearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Polygon has a 5-wave move off the low, right? So the question is this A, B, C like that, right? So is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, then you come up here in a B, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for C. Is that an A, B, C? And that's over. We're done, right? We're done. That, this is your wave 1, and then you have A, B, C for wave 2, and then let's go up for wave 3. That could totally be the case. Or is it going to be more complex? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an A. Then you come up in a B, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for C, and then you go up. So that's what we don't know, right? And when are we going to figure that out? Well, we need more wave structure. We need to see how this moves up. It could actually move up and take the top and then come back down, and it could be a running flat or something, right? So that's why, trading is not easy. It's hard. People say that it's easy, there's a lot of things that can play, but the point is the overall direction should be up. You could see, we're flagging out pretty nicely. So we want to see this break up, right? And then from there, you have point A, point B, point C. That's the most difficult spot to be in, right in the retrace, because you don't know if you're going to get a C, you're going to get reaccumulation, or you're going to break out. But not now, but once we get up there. But right now, I'm expecting the price to get back up here. Once it gets there, then it's decision time, right? So stay tuned for tomorrow or even the next day. We'll definitely figure it out. And then even with ADA, right? It's the same thing. I'm not going to go through all of them, but it's literally the same, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that's a 1. So the question is the same thing. Is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A? You come up here in a B, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for C, right? And that's your wave 2. So we have a 1, A, B, C, wave 2. Let's go to the moon. Let's go. Or is it going to be more complex? So instead of that being that, it would be 3 down, right? You get 3 up, and then 3 back down, and then go to the moon. So which one's it going to be? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I would like it for it to be this, and it should be this because, because if we look at the trend-based time extension, I think this is the time right here. Yeah, here it is. You could see from a time analysis perspective, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for it to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, because that's too big, right? The amount of time that the wave 2 has taken is much longer than the actual wave 1 itself. But here's the caveat to that. A lot of times on the way up into a retrace, as you're moving up, a lot of times wave 2s can be even bigger than a wave 1. So that's what makes it a little bit deceptive. So again, you know, from a Fibonacci perspective, you can see right down here, this is typically where you want the retrace or the pivot to occur, and that's exactly where it looks like it's trying to pivot now. So let's see how that continues to play, because ultimately we're expecting a move up. The reason why is because you're in an uptrend, right? You're consolidating, you have a big move up, right? You got 3 waves down, you got 3 waves up, and then you have 3 waves back down. And then what you look for is a 5, after you get a 3-wave correction, you look for a 5-wave move off the low. That's exactly what we got. And then once you get that, then you look for a 3-wave pullback, and that's exactly what we're getting. And then you want to make sure the 3-wave move is complete. So you want to look at the C wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you want divergence between the third and the third and the fifth, and that's exactly what we got. So what's the next move? The next move to me would be a move back up to here, right? Now, I don't know if it's going to be A, B, C, and then up to here. I'm not sure which ones are going to be, but ultimately I think we're going to get back up to here, right? So we want to see breadth open up again. We want to see all that. So if we look at total 3 looks fantastic. Look at total 3. Oh my God. You have a beautiful expanded flat, right? Well, maybe not so much, but it's a little ugly, honestly. But it's pretty clear in the way it looks, right? So you have an expanded flat. It's finished. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't really like it a lot because wave 3 cannot be the smallest wave, and it looks like it is. So it's the same problem with XRP, right? So if this is a 1 ABC 2 and this is a 1 ABC 2, whatever the case may be, you know, the big thing to me would be this move right. Actually, it's kind of like there you go, a rising wedge, super bullish pattern, a falling wedge. So falling wedges are pretty bullish, right? And typically a falling wedge, you're going to go all the way back to this level. So that's where I'm expecting the price to go. Once we get there, then I would expect us to run into some trouble, right? So the thing is okay, we're going to get back up to here, right? And then the question is, do we flag out and then break out, or is this an A, is this a B, and this is a C, and then we break out like this formation? And there's a very good example, right? Let's see, let me bring it up here for Mr. Bitcoin here. So if we look, that's actually really, really interesting. Check this out. Look at this. So if we take that same zone, right? Look at this. We take that same zone, we'll put it right here, right? So you can see, actually first, let me just show you, right? This became more complex, right? This wasn't just the ABC. We had 3 down, we had 3 up, and then we had 3 back down. And look what it did. It created a base, right? It created this structure, you know, this A, B, C. And then it created this big box, this base. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. We continued, right? You guys know that already. But if we look at this, let me make it a little bigger, right? So this could be the same kind of situation where we have A, a B, and then a C, and then a continuation. And let me just make that real thick. There we go. And then we'll turn it back to this one over here, and you can see kind of side by side here, just how similar it is, right? I mean, look at it. So yeah, even where the breakdown occurred, right? Because you have the wave, boom, boom, right? Boom, boom. So you have this support here, right? You fell down, you came back up in 5, you came back up in 5, you created a base, and then you blast off, So that's what I'm thinking here, for the total market cap, and it would actually be, there we go, a little bit of color on there. Looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to save that, and I think that's it. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin here. So if we look at Bitcoin now, see, Bitcoin is in the most dangerous place imaginable. It's at a very dangerous place because you have 7 waves, right? You have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you took the top, right? So this could be extremely bearish for crypto, right? So that's what I mean. There's no guarantee that prices are gonna go up, right? The altcoins look like they need more of a retracement. Now we do know when Bitcoin gets at the top, like this is a big wave, and look, we're at the very top. What happens when you get to the very top? Well, if you throw Theta on there, you can see exactly what happens, right? Bitcoin's moving up, and then it starts to get topped. Once it starts topping, that's when Theta explodes. Look at that, straight line up, right? So if we say something similar, right? And let's say we get a little bit more of a move up, and then we kind of start to consolidate, we kind of start to top a little bit, we could see a big move up here for Theta like last time, right? But essentially, right, if we look a little bit closer here, the big thing is getting another wave, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, let's go get 5, right? Let's break the top. But the thing is, what if we already got 5? We already have 5 waves. 1, 2, it looks like, I would imagine this is 3, this is 4, and then we're gonna go get 5. And that could be the absolute top. And we can chop around in here. But hopefully, right? Because when we go back to XRP for a second, now we circle back to XRP, this would be the time where XRP would finally get its 5th wave to the upside, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again, you saw what happened to Theta once Bitcoin topped. Same thing back over here, Bitcoin topped and XRP continued, right? So if we get that extra move in Bitcoin, right, we can get, because all we need is, we're so close to the verge of price discovery. Remember, this is where we're at. This is the largest crypto structure of all time. There's no structure bigger than it in the top 10, top 20, top or so, right? So this is a 7-year base, right? This is 7 years of accumulation, and we haven't broken into a new all-time high in 7 years, okay? So this is all coming to a major situation here, right? Because you could see, everything, all the similarities, right? All the similarities in here. So I'm going to take everything off the screen, and I'm just going to put one zone at the top here. And this is the zone that we're working on here, just like how we worked back over here, right? So we're super, super close to this playing out in a 5th wave, right? So what I mean is we're so close to price discovery, it wouldn't make sense for us to do all of this for the last 7 years, get up here and then crash. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, it could happen, and there is a count for it, right? The count would be 3 down, you have 3 up, massive 3 up, and then you get 3 back down. and then go up. And it would just be too big though, you know, but it's possible. But essentially, we need 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's go up and get 5. So it could happen really fast. It could take literally, how long did it take for this wave here? So it took 5, 10, 15, 20, so about a month. So let's say 3 to 4 weeks is really all you need, right? And then this thing can be at $7, $8, $9 fairly soon, right? Because it all, you know, for Bitcoin's sake, I think Bitcoin looks actually pretty bullish. Now, the only reason I'm a little bit concerned is because you do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves, and then this could be 6 and then 7. A lot of times you get 7. It's not really 7. You're just counting the subwave. But a lot of times when you can clearly see 7, that means it's time to run for the hills. But something tells me that Bitcoin, it still hasn't fulfilled it yet. Because if we zoom in, and if you look at blockchain backers fractals, right? Basically, you have this expanded flat here, and you work your way back up, right? And then you ABC right at the top. Look, you're right at the top, ABC. You're right at the top, ABC. Also, XRP is right at the top, and that's also what we're doing, ABC, right? So you would expect this to have a little bit of a pump here, right? Or maybe a big pump that gets us way up here, maybe 120, 130K. Because honestly, it still looks pretty bullish. Now, here's what we don't know, right? Is this going to go up from here, or does it have to be like an ABC, right? Because we do have 5 waves. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be A, and this is going to come up for a B, and then maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for C, and then we have that one last push to the upside, and that causes, the altcoins to soar. If we look at H bar here and we zoom out, right? I think this is kind of goes like that, but essentially, this is flagging out for a big move up, and all it needs is one more wave up, like for example H bar, or let's look at Chainlink for a second. I'm not sure about Chainlink though. Yeah, because rise, crash, retrace. Could this be in reaccumulation before? Yeah, but even like H bar could be 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be A. That could be a 3-way B, right? And then this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're gonna get a B for a 1 and a 2, and then this is going to go down 3, 4, and 5 for C, and then go up. And that would be incredibly bearish, but it's totally possible, right? So hopefully that's not the case though, because it still looks like it's flagging out. Still looks like it wants to break to the upside, right? Even Monero could. We've been talking about Monero for a while. Looks like Monero also still has gas in the tank. I mean, this thing hasn't even broken out yet. This is also one of the largest structures ever, right? And you're right in this base. So once you break out of that, it's going to be a serious breakout. So even when you look at things like Filecoin, you can say, oh, how bearish is that? You have a massive head and shoulders here, and you're at all-time lows. Well, to me, I look at that kind of like bullishly, because you have 3 waves up, you have 3 waves down. Let's go up and get 5, and that becomes a bigger 3, right? So maybe I should change my YouTube channel to the bigger 3, because we're always talking about bigger 3s, right? Or you can look at something like because the reason I'm looking at different charts is because we want confluence that we're going to go up, right? Otherwise, why invest in crypto if it's not going to go up ultimately, right, over time? You have 1, 2. This could be another 1, 2, and let's go up for a third, right? Or this could be A, and this could be B, and now we're going to go down for C, right? So there's counts to both sides, but that's why we look at everything to get an overall direction. And to me, the overall direction is up, because when you look at like ICP and AVAX and things like that, it looks very nice. Near protocol, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got a big wave, right? And then you have a wave 1, you have a wave 2, right? And then you have this big move up. This could be a 1, and then you have an ABC, a 2. So it looks like it wants to go up. Now, we don't know if this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A. This is 3 up, 3 down, and then you get 3 back up. This is your B, and then you get C for later on, right? Or this is, let's see, you have 3 down, you have 3 up, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A, B, C, right? And it's finished. That's your 1, that's your 2, and this is your wave 1 of 3. This is wave 2 of 3, and we're about to get wave 3 of 3. So same thing with near, right? It looks very bullish. You have this impulse and a 3-wave pullback. So if you're going to look at anything, you want to look at the last 2 moves. What is the last 2 moves? The move down was the last move, and the second last move was the move up, right? So then your third move shall be what? Up, right? I mean, that's what you would imagine. That's what you would believe here. So if we look closely at near, you can see we had this diagonal shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A broadening diagonal here. And then it looks like we had a 3-wave correction. We're flagging out. So that could be a 1, that could be a 2. Let's continue higher. So it appears to me that we need to go up, right? But before we go up, maybe we play around here. We build a base before we get up here. But the point is, the reason I think we're going up and not down is because we need a retrace. If you take the retrace levels, actually, I'll just retrace it from there. I'm expecting it to get back up here, back in the 618.702 level. And then from there, that's when we can crash, or that's when we can break out. You know, the big decisions happen in the retrace levels, right? Now, you could say, well, we already did that. We retraced back over here. And we came up, we came down, and then we crashed. That's true. But after it did that, now we have 3. Now we have to reset, right? So to me, it looks bullish. You got a nice impulse, a 3-wave pullback. You have, it looks like 5 waves in C. You have a 5-wave move off the low. You're flagging out. It looks good. So everything looks good. I think that's it. Let's take a look at a couple others maybe here. SHIB. SHIB is also definitely one of my favorite. Actually, it is my favorite meme coin because of the structure, the shape of how it's laying out. Looks fantastic. Again, with SHIB, you have a 3-wave move down, okay? And it looks very bullish. Why does it look bullish? Well, because, you know, if you look at this chart, you have a big wave up, a wave down, but then you consolidated, you created a base without taking the low. You shot up in a nice impulse, and then you cocked back like a slingshot in 3 waves, right? And now you're back testing that one base in here. So it appears that either we need one more wave down, right? It's either going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we shoot up, or we shoot up now, right? Because if Bitcoin needs an ABC, and this is where it gets tricky, right? Because if we look closely here, if Bitcoin, you know, needs an ABC, right? So if this is A and this is B, and then we still have to come down for C, that means we still have more downside to come. So that could affect the altcoins, right? So we go back to, you know, SHIB right in here, and You know, still expecting a move up, but then once we get that move up, do we get a move back down like that? And it becomes a more complex ABC before continuing higher. So that's kind of how I would envision it, something like this. This is kind of my main idea, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a diag. Let's get an ABC correction and then go up from there. Or this is just going to go up from here. So we'll see how it all continues to play out. But anyways, that shall do it for this video. If you want to stick around and let's look at that Theta article. But real quick, also XLM, you know, same story, right? Looking for it to get back up here. And then also XRP dominance is also important too. Just really quick, you know, you have a three-wave move right in here. Boom, 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 right? So you have 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 back down. You can see right here you have 3, 3, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have 5. So it seems like it should be finished. But I don't really know what this is down here. It looks like a little diag. Maybe get a little 3-way pullback and then continue. Theta drop. And we'll look at theta fuel too. Why not? So theta drop, T drop, looks pretty damn good, honestly. I mean, it looks interesting, right? Because I mean, there's not a lot of data, but you have a wave up and you have a 3-way pullback. So is it finished? Is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Or maybe it's finished now. Maybe you develop a little bit of a base. You get back up to here. That's kind of how I'm thinking of it. Here's an interesting one. Total vehicle sales. Looks like it's coming down. I guess that would be the best time to buy. If you ever see this spike down, that would probably be the best time to buy a car, because at that point they're kind of desperate to sell them, right? So I'm actually I'm looking to buy a truck soon. Definitely need a truck very soon. If there's any good deals, let me know. But another news, silver, I forgot to mention, silver is breaking out, okay? And yeah, I couldn't be more stoked for silver, because I'm going to do a whole gold and silver video soon. But essentially, right, you got to zoom all the way out. I mean, you got to go way out here. Look at this, guys. This is the biggest cup and handle in the history of the world, bigger than any other chart in the world. This is the biggest rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. It's going to be the biggest. Silver is going to be the biggest breakout in the history of mankind. All right? This is the biggest. This is going back in the 1970s, before a lot of you guys were even born. All right? This goes back, I think it was, when was the top? I think that was in the 1980, right? So almost what, like 45 years or so. Crazy. All right? So it's a 45-year cup and handle. I don't think there's a cup and handle that's that big, right? You have it's the same, and basically it's kind of the same chart as XRP in a way, right? You have the rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. Let's get the big breakout. So if this is a cup and handle, let's go to regular scale, and let's just take a look. Where would it top out at? If we took a measurement here from the bottom all the way to the top roughly, and then you take that, put it right about there. I mean, geez, you're looking at like $90 for silver, which ain't too bad. And then if we take If we do that same thing on log scale, it would be insane. It would be almost too insane, I think, roughly speaking. I'm not going to get it right on the dot, but you're looking at $600 silver. Maybe that's where Bix come up with his silver target. So if you look at the Fibonacci levels, this would probably be the most accurate. You're looking anywhere between $70 and $80, all the way up to potentially 150 to 190 even. Because I have a lot of silver coins, so that'll be interesting if I can offload them at some point. But you never want to sell all your precious metals, but to take profit, definitely, for sure. So I think that's it. I was gonna look at the dominance, but yeah. So if you look at the Theta Edge Cloud, I'll probably go over this a little bit later, but basically, the blockchain right here, if we just read a little bit of it, discussing the EVM, right, which is a support. This EVM support enables a wide range of interesting Web3 applications to be built on the Theta network. Examples include NFTs, DEX, DeFi, DAO, Decentral Autonomous. Then you have which could become indispensable building blocks of the next generation AI, media, entertainment. Theta's enterprise validator and governance council is led by Google, Samsung, Sony, right? Some pretty big people in there. Theta has partnered with leading entertainment brands like Lionsgate, MGM, Katy Perry, American Idol, The Price is Right. So that's kind of interesting. What Theta Network is not. Theta Network is not a decentralized YouTube or anything like that. It's actually bigger than that. And then it goes on to talk about like the edge nodes and how that works, the storage and the delivery and things like that. The Theta Edge Cloud consists of over 10,000 active global nodes with 80 petaflops of always available distributed GPU power. So basically, it's equivalent to 250 NVIDIA A100s. I don't know what that is. I think it's a lot. I think that's like, I don't know, is an A100, looks like that's like around 80 gigabytes. So I thought it was like terabytes. But anyways, most of us, Theta, already know all this. But for the new people who may be wondering why I look at Theta so much, I mean, again, I'm not a fundamental guy, so I don't really go into it all. But with Theta, I mean, it's really interesting stuff. So, and as like Starlink and things like that get, and people, because we live in a world full of information and data, and it's only going to get bigger, right? So, this is a thing that really has great utility, if you ask me. But anyways, if we look at, where was we? We were right here. Theta Edge, leading hybrid cloud edge AI computing platform, right? So anything with computers and AI and things like that, especially Theta's been around a while. The upcoming release plus booster edge nodes, all Theta community members will be able to participate. AI, edge cloud, just kind of circling over the combined GPU compute power of Theta's decentralized edge network and its preferred cloud partners is 20 to 30 times more than other comparable networks in the industry today. 30 times, that's a lot. Holding the keys to global GPU compute, arguably the most valuable and most disruptive asset in history. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Please click here to access the Theta Edge Cloud developer dashboard, right? So, I mean, I think it's pretty big. I mean, I know some people talking about it and saying it's going to be bigger than you think it's going to be, because you think of Theta, you think, oh, it's like a streaming thing, it's good, but it's not going to take over the world, and I don't think it will. But But it has got a lot of applications, especially as we get more and more data driven. So the Theta Edge cloud has, obviously you have the nodes, a fully decentralized network for AI edge computing, data storage delivery, powered by Theta Edge, enables AI teams around the world with unrivaled GPU price to performance. Its mission to provide developers, researchers, and enterprise, large and smalls, with unlimited access to GPU processing power. That's going to be the big thing. Processing power, right? It's all about how much information, data you can process, streaming wise or data or whatever, right? So maybe one day YouTube will be working with Theta to provide more GPU power or whatnot, or data. This approach brings the best of cloud computing to decentralized. The small limited. So yeah, GPU processing power for any AI video rendering, any containerized task at the most optimal cost. This approach brings the best of cloud computing to decentralized system powered by the Theta Edge network, while chatbots like ChatGPT and others utilize GPUs, new generative, because AI uses a lot of GPU power, right? So as more AI gets, implemented, it's going to take a lot more processing power, right? So anyways, the combined GPU compute power of Theta's decentralized, or and ChatGPT and others utilize GPUs, new generated AI models such as text to video, text to 3D, and sketch to 3D will require 10 to 100 amount of the compute power, right? The combined GPU compute power of Theta's decentralized edge network is preferred cloud partners is 20 to 30 times, right? We just read that. So that's crazy. Theta Edge compute for AI task. The edge node turns your computer into an edge computing node, which can execute various types of jobs, including AI. See, that's going to be the thing, too. A lot of people use AI for jobs and things like that, trainings. And so there's definitely a market for this, right? People say, oh, someone said, why you like Theta? It's just a streaming thing, and it's just for, it's not a big thing like XRP and payments. And I agree to that extent when you're talking about banks and trillions of dollars and derivatives and bonds, and that's different. That's on another level. But this is also in a different level too. I mean, again, we're going to need as much computing power as possible, and not just internet and streaming, but also data and information, right? So, and again, AI is going to be the big thing that really drains a lot of your computing power. So, but not just that, they're doing video, decentralized video on demand. So, but anyways, you could see like, the edge computing node, which can execute various types of jobs, including blah, 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 as well as video relaying. By running the edge node, you can contribute unused computational bandwidth resources and earn token rewards, obviously the Theta Fuel token. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about, which is the Theta Fuel token, right? So the Theta Fuel has inflation, guys. So because with Theta, right, there's only 1 billion coins, I think. Let me see. Yeah, so Theta there's a fixed supply at 1 billion and will never increase. But Theta has Theta Fuel is an operational token. Theta Fuel is used by on-chain operations like payments, edge nodes, AI, computation, video, blah, blah, blah. You can think of Theta Fuel as the gas token of the protocol. There will be 5 billion, right? So you have 1 billion and then you have 5 billion, right? But the difference is the Genesis Theta blockchain and the supply Wait. Yeah, so it says there were 5 billion Theta fuel at genesis of Theta blockchain, and the supply increases annually at a fixed percentage set at a protocol level in December 20. So I don't know. So there was 5 billion when it launched. I don't know what it is now, but that's the thing. That's why Theta fuel is struggling a lot more than Theta, because Theta fuel, it gets burned more, it gets used more, right? But there's also more supply. So, a lot of people say, well, Theta fuel will outperform Theta. I'm not so sure about that, at this moment. Obviously, maybe in the short run. I don't know much too about the long run. We'll see how it all plays out. But anyway, that's a little thing I just wanted to kind of go through. Let me just talk about the Theta meta chain. So if we look at this, it's basically the main chain, an unlimited number of subchains, just as meta. Let's see, comprehensive such. Just kind of reading it here. Since each subchain can execute transactions independently, this provides a viable path to infinitely scale the processing capacity of the meta chain. Wow. So its SDK will implement built-in interchain messaging channel, which connects the subchains to the main chain. Yeah, so that's, it's just getting more and more interesting, right? I mean, technology is just going to get better and better and better, and these guys are putting in the work. So but yeah, it's just the basic underlining of what Theta is. Again, it's more than what we think it is. So anyway, you can even see here, it's infrastructure for AI, for streaming, for the edge, and then also data. So now we'll just look at T Fuel real quick. And if you notice, when you look at Theta Fuel, right, compared to Theta, you can see, Theta, again, doesn't have that extra inflation like Theta Fuel does, right? Because you can see where Theta is. Here's the low, and you made a higher low, right? Now, if you look at Theta Fuel, because of the extra inflation, you actually took the low here, right? Again, why? Because it increases annually. So once a year, I think they increase it. So there's the Theta Fuel market is more saturated than Theta itself, right? But that can change. So I think Theta Fuel will do better than Theta once you get to that utility situation where people are using it so much for gas, right? But until then, for me, I'm primarily focused on Theta. I'm definitely not going to stop accumulating Theta Fuel and Theta, but just, primarily my focus will be on Theta. And then once things get really moving, then we can look at Theta Fuel, because if we look at the percentage where we are all the way to the all-time high, that's a big amount. That's 1,800%. All right, now let's do the same thing with Theta, right? If we do the same thing with Theta, all the way from where we are to the all-time high, well, would you look at that? That's actually a little bit more. It's actually 2,000%. So it's right around the same spot. So I don't think we're going to see too much of a difference as far as Theta and Theta Fuel goes. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Remember, this is not financial advice. I could be wrong. We're just trying to figure things out, looking at ideas. So anyways, that'll do it. I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.